Welcome to Coffee Talk, everybody. I always like to make sure I get Jeff chuckling before we start. It's Thursday morning. It's a great morning to connect, to share some coffee, even though mine's now empty, and just make sure we're all looking ahead at what's coming up in our church life and reflecting back on where we're at in our sermon series. And of course, we're Daniel, nearing the end. Mm-hmm. We're in the part of Daniel that I think most people stop reading.
Or get really confused.
They're just like, who has time for this nonsense? Let me move on to something.
Or they go straight to audio Bible and just press play, and then I'm going to go
That's right.
Do the dishes.
They're like, Daniel's got to stop eating bananas before bed. Or whatever it is that causes such crazy dreams. Okay, you were pretty clear, Jeff, that in the application of Daniel's vision, right? Empires rise, empires fall. Mm-hmm. These are what's coming. Yeah, unlike a lot of visions, this one actually has an interpretation that's pretty direct. Mm-hmm. This is this kingdom. This is this kingdom. This is the king of Greece, right? Mm-hmm. Even though it kind of gives you the idea, like, we haven't heard anything really of Greece up to this point in any kind of biblical reading, but all of a sudden, oh, that's a thing. Mm-hmm. But then the application is to be faithful and, like Daniel, to get back to work.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I think we talk really clearly about faithfulness, but what maybe we can kind of reflect on some ways that we could, what the work is that we should get to. Mm-hmm. And so, because you didn't really share much about that, so kind of give you some space to sort of say, here's what we could do in terms of, the work. Not to be clear, not advocating for a works-based salvation by any means. It's like Jesus invites us, right, saves us to do something as a response to the grace we've experienced. Yeah. And I want to lay that out really clearly. We're not advocating or trying to, propose some theology that says this is dependent on what we do, but there's an invitation there to join in the work.
Yeah.
So what does that look like?
Yeah. That's a big question, and I think there's so many different ways to go about it.
And aren't you glad I gave you 30 seconds heads up?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So my mind goes in many different directions. One is a lot of times people think the work of Jesus is prayer, reading the Bible, sharing the gospel, which is all part of it. But to the neglect of going to my job and doing my job, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever it is. And that has led people to think, oh, God's work is always the missionaries and the pastors and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But Daniel was about the service of the king, right? And he wasn't a priest. He wasn't. He was serving the king in an administration of an empire, right? Mm-hmm. And so he got back to his work, but in his work for the king, he gave it all to the Lord, right? Like he was doing it as to the Lord. So I think that's like just stepping out and getting a bigger picture of work. We need to see whatever we're called to do. If you're a teacher, a plumber, engineer, whatever you are called to do in your day job or night job or whatever it is, how do you do that as to the Lord, right? Like I want to add benefit. I want to be efficient. I want to work hard. I want to serve my employer as if I was serving the Lord. That I think is super important for us to realize, and sometimes we don't. We don't. We think, I'm doing this, so I'm not doing God's work. Actually, God's work is all of the work, right?
Yeah.
And then, obviously, as we do that as to unto the Lord, whenever we have opportunity to care for someone, we talked about bless a couple springs ago. Begin with prayer. Prayer, like we could be praying as we work, be praying for the people that we work, that will, if we're a janitor, for the people that are going to be walking on this floor, for whatever. So begin with prayer. Then we talked about eat. It was, or L was Listen, thank you. Listen to me now.
I was listening for once.
That's good. Listen,
you went
I jumped
straight to
over-
eat.
I went straight over,
Like,
yeah, I'm really
So
hungry.
did you
yeah.
skip breakfast, Jeff? Is that,
Eating with people, yeah, we should review this, but serving people, once you listen to them, eat with them, you kind of learn, get to know
Yeah.
them. How can I serve you? And then share the story, like
Yeah.
of faith. But that's just kind of a big kind of
yeah, well, and
overall picture of what
just
faith-
to go back to real quick, because I think I kind of talked over you there.
Nope.
We listen both in terms of understanding how to respond, but also in the hospitality act of creating space for people to share their hurt, their needs, their lives, their stories, their experience, and then that impacts our prayer for them. It impacts understanding how to serve them. It impacts understanding like, oh, maybe they don't need a meal as much as this, and we're going to connect over this thing.
Yeah.
Because if someone is like, maybe their thing isn't necessarily sitting down for food is a great way to connect, but it is actually in going for a kayak together or a climb or, no, I really just want someone to, drive me to this place and well, I'll be your chauffeur for a day, right? There's maybe other ways that recreate that. Eating is one of those basic needs identified in the book, but maybe that person's need is something else.
Yeah.
And
Good.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I didn't want to rush through that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And I would say too that even the way that we listen matters because if we're saying okay, creating space, yes, but also that also means seeking out some different thoughts and opinions than mine, because it can feel very suburban to say, well, tell me things that are on your mind and things that are going on in your life, and oh, the kids are this, and they're like, but actually to even seek out somebody to say, I want to begin with prayer, but I also want to listen to your very opposing view to what I have to say, so that that person also can be cared for by the way that I maybe
Don't judge,
share
right?
with them
Yeah.
and are able to say, not share my life, but actually even to say, can I buy you a meal?
Yeah.
Right? And so how we listen and who we listen to actually, I think, can speak volumes across all socioeconomic spheres as well too, because I think that's and I would actually say even a lot of that can be boiled down, maybe encompassed in Jesus' clear words of saying, be a cup of cold water to somebody. I feel like when you say work, that's what I feel like. No matter where you're at, to be that blessing to somebody, to be a cup of cold water in a dry and weary land that is seeking the beauty of God's love that I for sure don't have an exclusive hold on. But I hope that I am encompassing that as the Holy Spirit is within me and reaching other people.
Yeah, that's so good. I expected you to say it, but maybe that's because that's my own bias and how I would answer it.
You listened well.
But I would have said that, well, Jesus' work was all about reconciling man to God.
Yeah.
So we join that. I think that usually becomes interpreted as, I have to tell you what you need to know. So sit down and listen to me.
Right.
But we miss the ways then that in order to till the soil and help someone become receptive, I think people really need to feel listened to.
Yeah.
They need to feel cared about, and they need to feel your concern, and that creates a soil of receptivity. I mean, Paul talks a lot about, some plant, others water, right, some reap, but like before you can get that seed in the ground, you got to work the soil. Someone's got to do that. And then don't be afraid to put the seed in the ground once you've prepped the soil, right? You got to take the next step. But it would be, so I think what we're talking about in listening is all part of that.
Yeah.
Blessing others is part of that, because some people, myself included, can be really hard. But when we feel heard, that hardness can soften. And so I think that is so, and to heard not just so like, oh, we know how to respond, but heard like actually like considered
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
cared for.
Yeah, being
and
curious about the
understood.
person, right?
Mhm.
Curious, tell me more about that, and without judgment, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you think that? Oh, tell me more about that, I've never
Yeah.
thought of it that way, or whatever, right? Yeah.
I also wonder too, if, when we talk about work, in that respect too, that we actually have to create spaces and moments for this to even happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a world where it's all about me
Mhm.
and my time and my,
Mm-hmm.
my moments on the phone that are my time, that creates then a need. When you say work, I hear, okay, self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
self-discipline in that life is not about me.
Mhm.
Life is about what God is leading me to. What is that? Let's get after it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So we could say the work is blessing others,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think part of the work is remaining faithful, right? It is those things you started with,
Yeah.
right? It is our acts of devotion, our sometimes we call them disciplines, but it's the thing we do to build our relationship with God, so that we continue to be able and well equipped to do the work,
Yeah.
because they are linked.
Mm-hmm.
Anything more you would add to that?
Oh.
And by add, I mean like
Yeah.
clarify,
Yeah.
right? Not that we're trying to build out a to-do list.
No, I think it's great. I think, keeping those things in mind, that our work is about the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven isn't somewhere far away, it's right here. So
Yeah.
how do I bring the kingdom of heaven to whatever I am doing?
Yeah.
And I think Daniel was really good about that, right? He brought the kingdom of heaven to where he was. He's praying for everybody, 3 times a day. We talked about that stuff, but no, I think it's really good. Thanks.
And additionally then, just to clarify again too, or go back over, we do our jobs, whatever our employment is, not forgetting that we are, I love Paul's word, that we are ambassadors.
Yeah.
Right? We go through our day, Luke uses the term witnessing, right? Like the disciples were then witnesses, but that idea that we represent Jesus and we tell what we know, and we don't sever our spiritual world from our physical job,
Yes.
but we bring our whole self to it, which includes our child of Godness.
Yeah.
That we, our identity is His, as children of the King.
Yeah.
To that work.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be intimidating and scary and sometimes confusing, but also then I think we get to work on a new level.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that's our best challenge to leave you with. And if you are totally like, I don't know how to do that, we'll put Pastor Jeff's email on the bottom of the screen. And you can,
Oh, yeah. That'd
But
be
those are the
great.
fun
Yeah, it's
conversations
good.
we
Yeah,
actually like to have,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it does make a difference in our world
Mhm.
when there are Jesus representatives
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Salt and light.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
so stay salty, people.
Yeah. And if you need to know what that means, you can go back to our Sermon on the Mount series.
My email will be at the bottom here. Anyways, looking ahead, we are like a little under a month away from the women's Christmas banquet.
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell you any more about it than that.
Yep. Yep.
Not because we don't know details.
You're putting salt
Not
on our tongue.
because we are guys and we're like, not our thing. We care about this very deeply, so much so that we want you to get all of the details directly from Alyssa this Sunday.
Yes.
So if you can be at church with us, love to have you there. You'll hear she's got a whole introduction to it. We just don't want to preempt anything. And if you can't be here in person, then make sure you watch online. And so you can hear all of the information right from her and get it all correctly and accurately and fully.
But what you can do is you can reserve
Yes.
November 28th.
Yes.
Oh,
You can just block it.
That's
Block it.
not going to change. November 28th.
Friday night.
It is an evening.
Yeah.
And that's all we'll say about that. It's in less than a month.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Coming up.
Yeah.
So
It's
fast.
shoe boxes.
Yeah.
16th.
And there is a awful lot of these in our foyer. So if, again, when you're here on Sunday in this building, take some shoe boxes, fill them up. I was going again through the brochure this week that they produce, which just gives some insight, some helpful ideas, what to pack, what not to pack. And I'm trying to remember the exact word for it, and I didn't bring the brochure, but they talk about a wow item. You know, consider putting a wow item. I would say even if that's all you do, you know, and they had some suggestions like a deflated soccer ball with a pump or a nicer doll or something like that. It doesn't have to be, we don't want you to feel intimidated, like, oh, I've got to go get 100 things to squish in this box, and then how do even if it's just one, significant item, that would be wonderful. That would change a kid's mood, a kid's day, and really be a tangible way to share the love of Jesus with the child in another part of the world. I love that you can go online and to cover the cost of the shipping that way and get a label that helps you track where your box is and the impact you're having. It really brings it home. I know that's something that we're going to be doing this year because one, I just love whenever I order anything, I'm like every day, where's it now? Where's it now? And I love it, but even more so that we get to send something out and see, oh, this is where we are representing Jesus. And so that's really cool that we get to do that. And so this is an invitation. It's not an expectation. It's an invitation to be part of something that really makes a difference in a kid's life. And so tangible way to show the love of God with someone that you will probably never meet except this, on this side of heaven. And so what a wonderful, fun thing to do. Kind of kick off to Christmas because these get collected middle of November. And so, other than that, there's, of course, we're teasing this. We got lots of Christmas stuff coming up. There will be more information on Light Up coming very shortly, but you can reserve the first Friday of December for that. I know that there will be choirs on the street. You might have kids in that. I have a kid in that. There will be our church on the street doing a Christmas craft and lots of things going on. And so we'd love to either have help and or see you on the street for that on the first Friday of December. Anything else to share with people before we wrap up for the day?
Have a great end of October.
So get to work.
Yeah, get to work.